Welcome to the deep dive. Imagine you're looking out at a picturesque park, right? You see this elegant spotted deer grazing peacefully.
Yeah, an animal that has literally been living there since, what, 1900?
Exactly. But now imagine the government telling you this beautiful creature is actually an ecological nightmare, one that needs to be hunted year-round. Today, our mission is to figure out how a prized park animal became public enemy #1.
Right, and we're unpacking this through some sources featuring a pretty lively, honestly slightly grumpy conversation between two guys, Kesser and Steen.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They are basically debating why the adorable Sika deer is suddenly being treated like, wildlife from hell in this whole invasive species discussion.
It is a really fascinating paradox. I mean, a university vet in our sources points out that Sika deer, service nippon, were brought over from East Asia a century and a quarter ago to stock royal hunting parks.
Right. And they have those cute white summer spots and those elegant antlers with the 3 or 4 tines. I mean, if you've been living somewhere for 125 years without causing a total apocalypse, shouldn't you get local status by now?
You would assume a century of peaceful coexistence proves they're harmless.
Right.
But Steen completely rejects that comfort zone.
Oh, he really does. He goes right for it.
Yeah, he brings up the black swan theory. He actually compares these deer to genetically modified, Roundup-resistant weeds suddenly sprouting outside tightly controlled test stations.
Wait, comparing a deer we've lived with since the Victorian era to a mutant GMO weed feels like a massive leap. How do the authorities actually justify that kind of panic?
Well, the connection Steen is making is about the illusion of containment. A test station, much like a royal hunting park, is a controlled environment, but biological systems are dynamic.
Right, they don't just stay put.
Exactly. The black swan event isn't that the deer suddenly turned evil. It's that a latent threat finally crossed a critical threshold into the wild ecosystem. It's like a modified gene escaping a lab. The absence of a past disaster just isn't a guarantee of future safety.
And honestly, those royal parks were never perfectly sealed terrariums anyway. They're basically just mini zoos with big gates. I mean, the deer get bored and jump the fence.
They absolutely do.
Looking at the map data in our sources, there are now like 985 wild Sika deer sightings scattered across Denmark. They're super heavily concentrated in mid-Jutland and near Copenhagen.
And once they breach those borders, two main mechanisms of ecological damage kick in. So the immediate issue is resource competition. They aggressively consume the grass, the buds, the tree bark stuff that native species need to survive.
Right.
But the far more insidious threat, the real problem, is genetic pollution.
Which brings the native red deer right into the crosshairs, doesn't it?
Yeah, the danger there is that Sika deer readily interbreed with native red deer. So over multiple generations, this hybridization just quietly overwrites the native DNA.
Oh, wow. So it's not like you see a sudden pile of bodies or a big dramatic event.
Exactly. The pure native bloodline is just bred out of existence. And we know this mechanism works because it has already devastated pure red deer populations in Scotland.
That invisible genetic erosion makes the public's reaction to the new management strategy almost comical. Kesser points out how city folks have this, total Disney mindset.
Oh, the Sunday park goers.
Yes. They venture into the woods on Sundays and try to feed carrots to massive rutting stags, completely oblivious to the fact that the stag standing there roaring is basically saying, "Get off my land, little interloper."
Right. The public just sees this magical fairy tale moment. But that romanticized perception creates a severe blind spot. While people see a harmless forest friend, ecologists are looking at an active biological threat.
So because of this hidden genetic threat, the management strategy has shifted drastically, right?
Yeah. The authorities formally declared Sika deer invasive. The regulatory hammer has officially dropped. They can no longer be kept in farms or deer parks, and they are open to year-round hunting.
And the scale of that shift is really stark. Last year alone, hunters culled about 600 Sika deer. That basically doubles the harvest numbers from the year 2000.
It forces us to confront the reality of what happens when we treat wildlife as decorative novelties.
We brought these animals halfway across the world for royal entertainment, and now we literally have to eradicate them to save the native ecosystem.
That's a harsh turnaround.
It really is. So next time you see a beautiful exotic animal happily grazing in a local park, ask yourself, are we actually preserving nature, or are we just curating an outdoor museum that will inevitably spill over its walls?